pop-up headlamps. This is so cool. Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome back to the Mk2 MX-5. So you've seen the car being introduced to the channel, you've seen a new exhaust being put on, but you're yet to see me actually drive a car. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about the car and my initial thoughts as well. So let's jump in and go for a nice cruise because the weather is lovely. Right, time to get out of this bumpy car park, and it's probably a good thing this car hasn't got the Bilstein shocks in it, because this car would have come factory fitted with those shocks, but a previous owner has removed them because he said they were a bit too hard and the car was sitting a bit too low, therefore he was scraping, which no one wants that. Now I'd like to apologise in advance if there's any wind noise coming into the car. Unlike my Mk2 MX-5, this model does not have a wind deflector, so it's a bit more breezy in here compared to my last car. So you probably know a little bit about my car from when I first introduced it to my channel, but in case you don't, let me tell you a little bit more about it as we go around here. Oh, that sun's really warm on my face, it's lovely. And I've got a bit of a stretch. Oh. Marvellous, that cobalt exhaust sounds beautiful, really, really nice. So this is a Eunos S Special Type 2. Now let me tell you about the specification of this car. Now at first I thought it was a limited edition, but I don't believe it is. I think it's just one of the other editions that was available in the range, but you won't find too many in the UK, so it is kind of limited if you get what I mean. So it's a very high spec. So for example, I've got the surround sound, I think it's called the Mazda multi-sensory, I'm not too sure what it's called, I have to get back to you on that one, but basically what I'm trying to say, it's got its surround sound, so it's got uprated speakers, although this one down here needs to be replaced. Speaking of speakers, you've got the stainless steel teardrop speaker surround, which looks rather nice. We've also got stainless steel tread plates, which have got the Roadster emblem on them, and they look really nice as well. I've got electric windows. I've also got air conditioning, which is nice to have, but on a day like today, you don't really need it. This car also has central locking. Well, it came standard with central locking, but this car has remote central locking, which I believe was fitted as an aftermarket job, but I'm not too sure. I have tried to do as much research as I can, and I can't see anywhere where it mentions that it has remote central locking, so I definitely think that has been added on afterwards. Just realised, apologies for the sunglasses. I know it's probably a bit rude talking to you with sunglasses on, but if I do that, cool. That is quite bright. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's leave the sunglasses off for a bit so you can see into my eyes. Right. Although I do feel cooler with the sunglasses on. So yes, got air conditioning, uprated sound system, electric windows, central locking. I've got the 1.8 litre engine, which has 133 brake horsepower. Also got a limited slip diff. Got black cloth interior with a black dashboard. Still quite plain, but it looks quite nice. But what's it like to drive? Now, a few people have asked me, well, what is it like compared to your Mk2? And the car does feel lighter. It's not night and day, but for Mk1 compared to my Mk2, it feels a bit more nimble, it feels a bit more direct, a bit more eager to turn in. I would say the Mark 1 feels more responsive in regards to its throttle response. Now this car has a lightened flywheel, whereas I don't think my Mark 2 did, so that obviously makes a difference. So flip it into third. It is pretty responsive. The power is mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox, which I have to say, it's sweet as a nut. It feels just as good as when the car was first built. The changes are lovely. There's no notchiness whatsoever. They're snappy, they feel mechanical. It's a wonderful gear change. If you want an example of what a proper gear change should feel like, drive a Mazda MX-5. Because the gear change alone is so satisfying. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this car hasn't got the Bilstein shocks in them. They have been removed by another owner. And for Car's Ride, excuse me, my eyes are watering, I will have to put my sunglasses back on. Get a bit of hay fever, you see. There we are. Ah, almost poked my eye out. That's no good. So yes, suspension for Car's Ride isn't too bad. It's a little bit jiggly, and yeah, the car does rattle when you go over humps, but I will be fitting coilovers, so hopefully the ride will feel a little bit more composed and a little bit more sturdy, because at the moment the car, it feels a little bit hollow, if you get what I mean. Oh, that's another thing actually. Grip. I think this car grips better than my Mark II. Now this car is running Bridgestones. I'm not too sure which tyre model it is, whereas my car was running Toyos, I think. Was it Toyos or was it Yokohamas? I can't remember, if truth be told. I've almost forgotten about my Mark II. Rest in peace. Moment of silence for Mark II. Anyway, yes, I find this car grips better than my Mark II. But I will be putting new alloys on this car, and I'm not too sure on the tyres. So the front alloys I'll be putting on, they've got good ride tyres, which are kind of cheap budget tyres, and at the back I'm going to be putting Pirellis on. Other than that, there's not a great difference between this and my Mark II. Like I say, this does feel lighter, it does feel a bit more responsive, and it's got more grip. So overall, to drive, do I prefer this or my Mark II? Well, I prefer this car, definitely. It's weird because this car's got a little less horsepower compared to my Mark II. My Mark II had 140 brake horsepower, but this car, it does feel a little bit faster. It's a funny one, isn't it? It's funny, all about perceptions and how a car can feel. But yes, this car definitely feels a little bit more nippy than my Mark II. So let's talk about colours. So the S Special Type 2 was available in 4 colours. So you had Montego Blue, which is what this car is finished in. You also had Brilliant Black, Classic Red, and Chased, have I pronounced that right? Chased White. So as you know, this car is Montego Blue, and I have to say it's a really nice colour, because sometimes it looks navy, other times it looks green, and in certain lights it looks black. So it's a really nice diverse colour. Now the paintwork and the bodywork isn't perfect, so the rear bumper in particular has got quite a lot of scuffs. Now I have played about with the idea of possibly respraying this car, and it's something I really want to do, but it is a pricey job to do, and in all honesty I haven't got the money to do it right here, right now. A few people have said I should wrap it, and yeah, it's a cheaper option, and I would have so many options of what colour to pick, but do I really want to wrap this car? Well, I'm not too sure I would. Now if I were to wrap it, I think I'd probably go for a colour like a satin black or a matte black or like a gunmetal grey. By all means, if you have any suggestions, pop them in the comment section below. Now I'm not saying I am definitely going to wrap it, because if I can, I'd rather respray the car, but I'm not completely against the idea of wrapping it. I'm just not overly keen, because I'd rather get this paintwork back up to factory finish. Plus, I really like this blue, so I don't really want to cover it up with vinyl. Now I know wraps can be taken off at any time, but well, I don't know, to wrap or not to wrap. So what other plans have I got with this car? So dummy exhaust, as you can hear, got coilovers, new brakes to put on. What else? All the alloys, I almost forgot about the alloys. And at some point, turbo. Oh yes. This car will be getting a turbo. Now, I will be honest, it won't be done for a few months, but hopefully it'll be done by the end of this year. At this point, I want to say a big thank you to Oscar, aka Exhausted. He has been so much help in regards to buying this car and also modifying this car and my Mark II, although the Mark II modifications turned out to be a waste of time. It's so good to be back in a Mazda MX-5. I cannot tell you how happy it makes me. And it's a Mark I as well. So it means you get the pop-up headlamps. It's just so cool. Who doesn't like pop-up headlights? They are just fantastic. Right, so that's probably enough talking from me. My mouth is really dry now and I'm in desperate need of a drink because it's a very warm day. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a massive thumbs up. Now, don't forget to click that bell icon because you will get notified every time I put a video up, so you won't miss any. So give that bell a massive click. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. And also, if you haven't done already, don't forget to subscribe for more car obsession. Oh yes.